Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting series of Jenkins. I hope you all are doing great and taking care of yourself. In the last video, we have learned how to install Jenkins on AWS EC2 instance. In today's video, we will be learning or going through the Jenkins homepage or the dashboard, which will help you to understand what are the different options you have in Jenkins. So without any delay, let's get started. Remember, we had entered the password of admin, which we have captured from the cat where lib Jenkins secrets initial admin password. It's a very big and a tough password. Now you can go ahead and change your password of the admin whatever you want. So for that you need to basically click on admin and click on configure. The moment you click on configure, the page of configure gets open. And if you scroll down, you will see something called as a password, and that's where you need to change the password. I have already changed the password for my Jenkins dashboard, but this is where you need to change, and then you need to hit apply and click save. Now let's go back to our dashboard. I basically consider the dashboard into two parts. One is the configure dashboard and one is the build dashboard. Build dashboard is where you will see the status of your build. And why configure? I consider this as dashboard because it helps you to basically configure the jobs, add the people, and manage the Jenkins. So now let's click on the first item, which is the new item. If you click on the new item, you get the things to create your job or a project, which is called as a freestyle project. This is a very basic project. And then you have something called as a pipeline project, where you can basically create the dependency of one job on the another. It's like a pipeline from where a water flows from one pipeline to the another pipeline. And then you have something called as a multi-configuration project. And then there is something called as a folder, then a multi-branch pipeline, and then you have something called as an organization folder. All you need to do is whenever you want to create a basic freestyle project, select this and write some name, and then you can go ahead and create your first freestyle project. Now let's move to the next, which is called as people. Okay, this is where you can basically see who all are logged into Jenkins and which user ID they have logged in. Currently, I have logged in with the admin, and the name of that user is admin, and the user ID is admin, and then he hasn't done any last commit activity. Let's go to the next stuff, which is build history. Here is where you will see the build history of your base, where how many times the job has ran, when it has got succeeded, when it has failed. So this is where it gives you an overview of your build if you want to go and check your build history. The another important concept or important item in the config dashboard is the manage Jenkins. This is where everything gets driven. So the moment you click on the manage Jenkins, you see something called as a system configuration. Then you have security security stuff. Then you have status information, troubleshooting, tools, actions, and couple of other things. But the important here in system configuration is something called as a manage plugins. This is where you can basically get the respective plugins which you are looking for. So there is tab called as an available. So these are the list of available plugins which you have, and then you have something called as an install. So these are the default install plugins when you first time install the Jenkins and log into the Jenkins, and then you have something called as an advanced. So if you're looking for a plugin called as AWS, then all you need to do is click on this, and then sorry, uh, click on AWS and then search, and you will see the list of plugins: CloudBees, AWS credential plugins, then you have Amazon Web SDK plugins, then you have web services, yeah, and couple of other plugins. If you want to look for the Maven plugin, you just need to type Maven, and then you have Maven integration, Jira, and Maven pipeline, Maven integration, Artifactory, and couple of others. So this is how you can basically go ahead and add the necessary plugins which you want. So now let's go back to the dashboard and again click on the manage Jenkins. And if you see, there is something called as a manage nodes and cloud, and this is where you can go ahead and add your master and the slave stuff. We will go back into that in our upcoming session. Let's not get into that, but that's where when you click on manage nuggets, you will see something called as a new node open, and that's where you can configure the cloud if you are running that on AWS. uh, Now let's again click on manage Jenkins and scroll down a little. And in security, one of the important concept you need to understand is if you want to add any users or kind of thing, this is where you can go ahead and add. And if you see, I have right now added admin, right? But tomorrow, if I want to add a new user or kind of thing, this is where I can go ahead and do it. Manage. Okay. So if you see it, as soon as you click on manage users, you see something called as a create user. And once you click that, you can then start adding the user. Uh, as of now, let's just add a user called as demo. The password is password123, and then you can three, full name is a demo. If you want to add an email ID, you can do that. And you see it needs an email ID. So let me put demo Jenkins at the gmail.com, some dummy ID. Okay, and then you can see the user is being created with the demo, and that's how you can go ahead and add the users. Now let's just delete this. As of now, I don't need, but this was for the demo. Let's go back to another by clicking manage Jenkins. And if you scroll down, then you see something called as a system log information. This is where your whole logging efforts. But let's click on system information. The moment you click on system information, you get all this information. What is the AWS toolkit, what jar file, what is the Java class version. We are running on 11.0 OpenJDK, and this is the library path and couple of other things. And the more important thing is this is where our lib directory is, where lab Jenkins. This is the user homepage. Language is Indian. The username is Jenkins, and then you have environmental variable. the in environmental variable, you know where is your Jenkins installed. So that's where is my Jenkins underscore home. That's where my Jenkins is installed. And then I have list of plugins which was defaultly installed when we first logged into the Jenkins. And then you have a memory usage. You can take the thread dump also. So that's how you go, you get the information when you click on manage Jenkins. So let's go down, and then you have something called as about Jenkins. If you want to know something, you can do that. And let me scroll down more. Troubleshooting, and then you have something called as a Jenkins CLI, where you can basically access and manage Jenkins from your shell. So let's click that. The window gets opened. You need to install this, and it will then start. Let's go to this again, and then you have something called as a one of the important thing you need to know is configure a system. So let's click on configure system, and that's where you see your home directory, and this is a system message. This system message will be popping whenever someone logs in to the Jenkins page using the IP address of our EC2 instance. So I'll write welcome to Jenkins demo. And then you have number of executors. Right now we have 2 by default, but you can increase to 3, 4, 5, whatever you want. And then you have Jenkins URL, you know what we have done. And then we have system admin, email ID. You have something called as global properties here, and the folder, the global timeout. One important thing I want to share here is when you click on configure system, you can configure the GitHub uh, uh, server as well, right? And you click on advanced, then you have something called as a hook URL of, we'll see that in our upcoming session. uh, you can, one important thing I wanted to show, the email configuration. That's where you can email notification. If this is where you can basically send out the notification whenever the build happens, right? And you can configure here, you can give an SFT SMTP server your default address, test the configure by sending a test mail. You can do it, you can just do that by writing some a demo Jimmy, and that's how you can test the configuration. Then you have something an advanced here, right? Using SFT SMTP authentication, SSL TSL, and then you need to give a port, and that's how you can configure the things accordingly in the manage Jenkins. And in that you can click on configure system. uh, I hope you got an idea or a gist of how the dashboard of Jenkins look like, and where and what needs to be checked for. Like tomorrow, if you want to add the users, you go into manage users. You want to add plugins, go to manage plugins, add nodes, then manage nodes and clouds. You can also configure the email which you want whenever the build job is run. And that's how. If you have liked this video, kindly do subscribe to my YouTube channel, and don't forget to hit the like button and let me know your comments on the same. Thank you, and take care of yourself.